Back in January, fellow small creator and one of my best friends, MildlyGothic, made a video titled AI Makes Slop Not Art, where she discussed her thoughts on AI, how that affects her as an artist, and how she started creating in general.
These are aspects that used to be made by real people, by hand. History keeps showing us that we should value the old ways of doing things as we continue to progress forwards.
The response to that video was mostly positive, but it was hard for us to ignore the negative and downright nasty comments because they are the loudest goddamn minority. So, like most things, I wanted to talk about it. To be honest, I typically try to stay away from the more philosophical discussions relating to AI, especially the ones around AI and art, because at the end of the day, I think it just comes down to some gut beliefs that are hard to sway people on. In my day to day discussions against AI, you know how we all have day to day arguments on AI, I try to stick to the facts because it doesn't matter whether or not AI can create art because it's terrible for the environment and humanity as a whole, at least in its current state. Data centers that largely make up the AI infrastructure are popping up all over the country, and they consume a lot of electricity, the cost of which has been punted to residents who live nearby. And on top of that, they're poisoning the water. Some areas think the economic benefits outweigh the environmental impacts, but those benefits are likely short term. For me personally, this is enough to say that something needs to change about AI for it to be worth using. It's important to note that I'm speaking specifically of generative AI here. It's hard for me to fault people for using it as a tool, especially when it's being force-fed to us through our workplaces and the most popular internet platforms. This is a genie that will never get back in the bottle. AI in general has the potential to be a great tool to help human development and productivity. I do really hope that one day we can have better regulations around AI and its environmental impacts. However, under this current regime, the chances of that seem depressingly slim. Despite that, I still think it's important to talk about it. As I said, I typically try to stick to more objective, concrete things when talking about AI, but I honestly do this to mask some pent up emotion surrounding the topic. My titular day job and Katie Kepper day job is as a software engineer. While I don't currently work in the AI industry, my specific background is in computer science and cognitive science with a concentration in linguistics, which is a fancy way of saying that I really wanted to study artificial intelligence and large language models, mostly looking at how the properties of human language and cognition can be used to improve computation. Basically, I like brains and I like computers, and I think it's cool that we can make computers better by modeling them after brains. While studying this, I got pretty jaded with academia and stopped feeling passionate about pursuing an AI related career, and now I'm in a different software field. My remaining interests in AI are in the philosophical realm and looking at the technologies and algorithms that power AI. From a distance, of course, I'm tired of doing that shit myself. I think the most idealistic of us who study or studied AI did so to create a better future. For some, AI was the Terminator or HAL. For me, it was Baymax. It was BMO. It was Wally. Funnily enough, it is Wally, just not the part I thought it would be. It's infuriating because, in a sense, we've been lied to. Where are the machines that do our day to day chores for us? Where is the AI that makes our lives easier? AI is advertised as this productivity enhancement cheat, but we are not the ones who reap the benefits. We still have to work the same number of hours, our pay has certainly not increased, and on top of that, AI is stealing one of the most unique things about humanity: creation. In order to save money, companies use AI to generate content rather than pay a pesky human who wants basic rights or some bullshit to do it. We see this everywhere now. Content creators push out AI slop. 23% of the commercials during the Super Bowl were AI generated this year. This picture, used for the State of the Union address. I swear God has abandoned us. As I said before, I typically don't engage in arguments around AI art, but I started to notice patterns in how people discuss it, defend it, and take the centrist view around it. A lot of this came from discussions that I had with my family about AI, and I started to realize that maybe we were talking past each other. Last month I was visiting my family, and as we were talking, the TV went into idle mode. I noticed in the corner a disclaimer that all the photos were AI generated. Because of course they were. It could have been, I don't know, literally anything else. What happened to the sky? Like, just what happened? Show me the sky. When I pointed this out to my family, we had landed on a picture of a cat in a sweatshirt, and all my grandma said was, well, I could see a cat doing that. And so could I, but that's not the issue. This isn't a one off moment either. When the infamous AI Coca-Cola ad aired, I made a comment about it being AI, to which my mom replied, yeah, because the squirrels actually did that.
I know you know the AI is fake, but why doesn't it bug you that it's AI?
Which brings me to my real worry about all of this: people simply not caring where their content comes from.
While many of us hate AI slop, there is an audience for it, and they really don't care. And that worries me.
The disagreement about AI art typically comes down to one core topic, and that is where you see the value in art as content or creation. Many people just don't see the value in creating something that doesn't have a purpose, typically meaning an economic purpose, aka your art holds no value in society unless that value is monetary. And if you try to argue it has value outside of it, people act like you think you're Da Vinci or something. Sometimes it just feels good to create something, but that's at risk now. Not everyone is going to make money off of their art, and artists know this. The starving artist trope is as relevant as ever. There's a reason I kept my day job. But AI is making it harder for artists to make a living off of their art under the guise of making art more accessible. There are other arguments around the legitimacy of AI art, but I often see these arguments used to defend the material value of AI art. If you clicked on this video and only see art as the end goal, a product to consume, I ask that while you're watching, you challenge that belief in whether it actually serves you. Because I don't think you truly grasp the future you're pining for.
This is AI and the value of art.
I would love to just skip to my point, but I think it's important to address common arguments around AI art, otherwise, people in the comments will what about it until the end days. And that's great for engagement, please do. So, as your imaginary representation, I'd like to introduce my strawman. This is Braxton. He will be our pro AI argument today.
Hot tub with voids? I'm not doing the hot tub with the voids. Yeah, the white
Say
ones,
hi,
okay. That
Braxton.
should be coming up to me in an ideal world. Alright, let's
Okay,
see.
he's
Oh,
watching a
she's
kick
she's
stream.
alright. Okay.
Yeah, because I finished my homework already, okay? Leave me alone. Just gotta take out the M dashes.
AI is just a tool. Before AI, there was Photoshop. Before Photoshop, there was airbrushing. Before airbrushing, there was compositing. All these technologies caused debate on what made an artist and what was real art. Are people lesser artists for using these technologies? They couldn't do these things without these tools, so why should their talents be recognized? The evolution from film compositing and airbrushing to Photoshop is clear. Photoshop made these methods more accessible.
As a graphic artist, I see this as a tool that I have, and I would never give it up.
So, can't you make the same argument for AI? If you are, for example, pasting the head of one actor onto another's body using Photoshop, why not just make it easier by asking AI to generate the photo for you? It's just a tool, right? But unless you see art purely as the end goal, there's a clear difference here. All these technologies kept humans in the creation process. Generative AI does not do this.
I put a prompt into ChatGPT. You aren't really doing anything, though. You're not using this as a tool to enhance your abilities, you're using this as a tool to replace your abilities. I mean, I can't draw. Yeah, well, I believe we call that a skill issue.
AI provides us the instant gratification of seeing something we imagined coming to life. I think we've all had an idea that we've wanted to turn into a movie. On the extreme end, let's take a video game, for example. If we look at the barrier for entry in terms of skill alone, making a game by yourself is difficult. It requires skills in art, animation, coding, writing, sound design, music, you name it. Maybe you're already good at some of those things, but gaining skills in everything else is time consuming. You could always outsource these tasks, but that costs money. AI doesn't cost money, and now you can see your vision come to life. Is there harm in that? I mean, it's your vision, right? If I'm honest, I don't want to play your game if you used AI to make it, especially the art. Sure, you worked hard on some of it, but there are plenty of games where we know the hard work was put in to make all of it. I'm not paying for something that theoretically I could have made myself. The real accessibility issue here is due to time. As much as we want to, improving our artistic abilities probably isn't number one on our list after getting off of work. Isn't this where AI should be helping us, though? Our productivity has supposedly increased, but instead of giving us less hours, corporations lay us off. Instead of having the extra time to work on our hobbies, we're being worked just as hard, and they're stealing our hobbies from us. Cool.
There's this John Adams quote that I've always loved that touches on this.
I must study politics and war, that my sons may have liberty to study painting and poetry, mathematics, and philosophy. My sons ought to study mathematics and philosophy, geography, natural history, naval architecture, navigation, commerce, and agriculture in order to give their children a right to study painting, poetry, music, architecture, statuary, tapestry, and porcelain. Basically, that we work so that way our descendants will have the time to study the things that they're passionate about. I've also seen people defend the use of generative AI because it increases the accessibility of art for people with disabilities. But again, you're not creating art by using these tools. Also, creation despite adversity is one of the most remarkable and cathartic aspects of art. Frida Kahlo had physical disabilities from polio. John Milton lost his eyesight. Beethoven was deaf. As cheesy as it sounds, humans find a way to create. AI is not the tool we should be turning to in order to make art more accessible. Not to mention, if you create something on Photoshop, even if you take two pictures from different photographers or artists, that picture, if derivative and under fair use, is yours. If you generate an image using AI, that image has no copyright. No one owns it. Just because you told it to create it doesn't mean you're an artist.
Oh, just because I'm not an artist means I can't create art? Like, what even is art anyway?
What is art? Folks who argue whether AI can or cannot make art often turn to the definition of the word art. I really don't like to do this because there really is no set definition of what art is, and then people start to devolve into semantics and it's just not productive. For example, sorry to disappoint you, but content created by algorithms is by definition artificial, so yes, AI slop is still art. Not being a philosopher doesn't change the meaning of words.
I swear to God.
Not being a philosopher doesn't change the meaning of words.
Does anyone feel like we've grown our understanding of this issue from this comment? Does anyone feel like they have a clearer view of what art is? Is this productive? I mean, they're not wrong. But like they are? This is not a definition. This is an abbreviation. This is what I mean.
At this point, are we really arguing about the merits of AI art? Unless you're making the assumption that all art has merits, which I doubt many of these people are.
You call that art? Listen, I'm not the biggest fan of some forms of modern art. It's just not for me. But I still cannot believe we are talking about the banana from 2019.
It's a joke. In fact, most people see it as commentary on the art world and its reception to pieces like this.
Except for Mr. The real bananas were the friends we made along the way, I guess.
It's literally commentary on what you're complaining about. One time, the creator of said infamous banana duct taped an art dealer to a wall as an art piece.
I say this with the utmost respect and love. This man is not a serious person.
Quality isn't the point here. I've watched my fair share of pimple popping videos, and I'm not going to sit here and call that the height of human creation. When people talk about the quality of the banana versus Space Opera Theater, the Midjourney image that won an art competition, or what art is, it goes back to what I said before. Do you see art as content or creation? Because by some definitions, yes, AI can create art. I can see AI art even invoking emotions in people. Anger comes to mind. But at this point, the art is just something for you to consume because there's no human on the other side to make it more than that.
Whether the art is good or bad doesn't matter. AI just simply does not have the level of intelligence to create like a human does. Yeah, no, speak for yourself. Lacey is so artistic. Who's Lacey? My AI girlfriend. She made this picture of me, her, and Elon Musk having a threesome. Wanna see? Oh no, thank you. I mean, technically Elon's in the cuck chair.
The humanity of AI. Some people really do want to look at AI art as something beyond just content and believe that AI has the learning capabilities and intelligence to create art as a human does. We have the tendency to assign human traits to non-human objects. I mean, I named my Roomba Sir Roomba-Lot before I got afraid that he was tracking me and I had to rehome him. Sorry, Sir Roomba-Lot. Of course, AI is no different, and since it's trained to mimic humans, it's only natural that we see humanity in it.
But it lacks some key characteristics of human intelligence. Like the thinking part. Didn't they already make a test for this? Who's they? The Benedict Cumberbatch looking ass. Alan Turing? Sure. What Braxton is so elegantly referring to is the imitation game, aka the Turing test.
Alan Turing, a renowned mathematician, one of the fathers of computer science, and way more than the Benedict Cumberbatch looking ass, devised a test to determine whether or not machines could think. Basically, this is a blind test in which a human would ask a computer and another human questions. If the computer could trick the human into thinking it was the human, we could say it was intelligent. The theory being that human language was so complex that in order to parse it and accurately respond, one must have the capability to think.
With the emergence of large language models, this test isn't as relevant as it used to be. One peek under the hood of these models just shows that there's no true understanding here. So let's do a brief overview of some of these models. I promise it'll be brief.
Firstly, there's generative adversarial networks, or GANs. As the name implies, GANs have two opposing models, the generator and the discriminator. The generator is given random data to produce images, and the discriminator is fed training data of real images as well as the fake images created by the generator. The goal is for the generator to trick the discriminator into thinking its images are real. During this training process, both models get better at their goals, which makes GANs create such realistic looking images. Another common model type is the generative pre-trained transformer, which you likely know as GPT. Transformers are a bit difficult to explain, so I'm going to give a simplified version. Models like this are able to break down text or images into tokens and then analyze the context of these tokens and establish probabilistic relationships between them. For example, take this phrase: "The cops chased the shriekers across the field. They didn't want to encourage imitators." They is an ambiguous term. The AI can examine this sentence to see that they is likely referring to the cops. When generating output, these models use their training to determine which words would make the most sense to use in that context. As you may have noticed, it isn't always right in its assessments. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, scientists and mathematicians can look at theories of language and cognition to create better artificial intelligence. In the transformer, for example, the model breaks down language into tokens based on our currently accepted theories of language processing, i.e., that our brains break down language into smaller pieces of meaning in order to parse it.
AI does an awful good job at mimicking us, but it lacks true understanding. It's hard to argue that probabilistic connections are equivalent to understanding as we know it. What's truly missing here is intentionality.
In philosophy, intentionality is the power of minds and mental states to be about, to represent, or to stand for things, properties, and states of affairs.
And then also we got coconuts. I only have 12 coconuts. So if you want a coconut,
Yeah, I lost him. Let's break this down.
Intentionality is essentially how we direct our mental states. Picture in your head a tobacco pipe. Based on your subjective experience and biological factors, the picture you hold in your head is what represents a pipe to you. It may be different from other pipes, it may be influenced by the pipe shown on the screen, but what matters is that you can hold some representation, visual or otherwise, of a pipe in your head. AI can't do that. When you ask an AI, picture a tobacco pipe, it determines from its training what it mathematically determines to be a tobacco pipe. The answer is different every time based on probability rather than experience, and most importantly, this pipe has no meaning to it. It is just a calculation to respond to your query. There is debate on where intentionality comes from. Is it innate to humans, or is it derived from some other functionality? We can't even begin to have these conversations about AI because it has zero intentionality. There's nothing behind those eyes. If it had intentionality, it could produce something with purpose instead of regurgitating from its training data.
Which brings us to the obvious. While I was studying AI machine learning, the models that are used today were already around and in common academic discussion. But the effectiveness of these models is severely limited by the amount of data that would be needed to train them. So how do you solve this problem? Stealing.
Haven't you defended people from stealing before? How is this any different?
Oh, you watch my videos?
No, I watch reaction streams.
Okay, yeah. I will always defend the use of
Under pressure.
an Ice Ice Baby. I mean, not ardently, but I will defend it.
I go ding 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 ding.
Also see Battle Royale.
But once again, we're assigning human qualities to AI. Like, sure, AI is transformative when compared to the data it unethically trained on, but sampling, inspiration, etc., is spurred by intentionality.
Ding 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 ding.
You can say a piece of work is a ripoff all you want, but an artist makes something with intent, even if it's the intent to copy. AI simply cannot do that. It doesn't even know what copying is.
But let's turn back to the creation versus content argument. Maybe you think AI art is truly transformative and its lack of humanity doesn't sway you on that. Maybe you still think the end goal of art is all that matters, and whether AI is a tool or whether it can create real art doesn't matter to you. It can be hard to sway people on an issue like this. Again, it really comes down to a gut feeling on how you view art and its merits. But even if you do just want art for the sake of something to consume, I just have to ask, why do you want this?
I recently sat down and watched Wally for the first time in years, and I gotta say, it hit way too close to home. In Wally, humanity has abandoned Earth due to the environmental devastation caused by overconsumption. The remaining humans now live in space and have only further retreated into these habits. They don't have to do anything, their lives are filled with ads and mindless entertainment. No one creates anything, no one even knows how. It's just consumption for the sake of it. We are scarily close to this world when it comes to how we consume content. What is the value of content to you? Is it the dopamine hit? Is it the monetary value it brings? If it's a dopamine hit, where will you get your next one? Does it feel the same? Do you want to sit in a movie theater and watch something with zero human creation that you could have made yourself? Why waste your time, attention, and money? Maybe you're watching this and thinking it's not that deep. You just want to be entertained, right? Who cares about this dancing robot that's selling me vodka? Who cares about the nostalgia bait of de-aging celebrities? Who cares that this dog isn't real? It's cute. But it kind of is that deep. Because the people who made this don't care about your time, nor do they value your intelligence. Sure, let's let a team of 5 people make a shitty ad with clear flaws. They'll still buy our products anyway, why does it matter to us? We're letting companies treat us like mindless consumers who just need to be appeased with an endless stream of content for cheap entertainment.
Why do you want that? Really ask yourself, why do you want the world filled with cheap slop? Also, for those Dunkin' execs, in your hubris of feeding us nostalgia bait slop, you missed the perfect marketing opportunity. The Dunkin' Egg Breakfast Sandwich. It was right there. The timing was perfect. Have one of your clankers come up with that. Anyway, for those of you who say yes, the end goal of art is to monetize it. AI makes art more accessible. Now, with minimal effort, I can create content, feed the algorithm, and print money.
I just have to ask, what is your end game? Is your whole worldview step 1 AI, step 2 prompt, step 3 profit? There are more steps in life after profiting. Theoretically, we earn money to try to give us a better life, to buy us more free time and social mobility. Let's say now you have that. You don't have to do your chores anymore with your infinite money cheat, someone else is doing that for you. So what's left? Will you be satisfied? Or will the endless grind get to you? You will never find true happiness and stability if you're never satisfied and always stuck trying to monetize everything.
I mean, that's just reality. Money's the only way to mog NPCs who hate this shit like you.
Is it crack? Is that what you smoke? Do you smoke crack?
We call this implicit submission. We aren't changing the unfair reality, we're just submitting to it. People don't just wake up and decide, yeah, today I'm gonna get stepped on, though. The grift is convincing people that they too can become billionaires if they just lean in more and grind a bit harder while taking advantage of this cool, sweet new technology that's so accessible. Make it so they aren't afraid of the oligarchy because they think they can be a part of it. It's not even a if you can't beat 'em, join 'em situation, because folks look at how easy and accessible making AI content is and think the wealth is too. Therefore, they're basically already rich. I mean, the money potential's just right there. But the market is becoming oversaturated and people's attention and thus their money is becoming scarcer. But every grifter will tell you that you're just one lucky viral video away from raking in the money, just forever chasing this dream of wealth, never even approaching the and then what problem. Of all the 1 in a million chances, why chase one that's so unfulfilling?
We are not benefiting from this. We will not benefit from this, not the way things are now.
AI is coming closer to replacing us in everything we do. This may sound alarmist, but it's a real risk and is desired by the richest among us. It's one thing to replace our jobs, but let's say by some miracle we get that AI utopia that Sam Altman keeps lying about.
To sound like utopic tech bro here, but if you'll excuse me for The increase in quality of life that AI can deliver is, extraordinary. We can make the world amazing.
Universal basic income, housing for all, no one has to work anymore. We're free to do what we want without day-to-day burdens. You finally have the time to work on that video game you've been dreaming about. Do you really want AI to do it for you? What will you do with all the time it saves you now? Work?
Yeah, this all sounds like cope to me. Something better is coming along. Maybe you deserve to be replaced.
Okay, what about you?
I mean, why bother? By the time I enter the workforce, there won't be jobs.
We can stop this now.
Bitch, I'm getting viral. And bro, I appreciate
And
this
I
guy
lost
saving
onto a
my-
kick stream again.
This guy's saving my
Daniel Dennett was a philosopher and cognitive scientist whose theories have led the conversation on how the mind works. He passed away in 2024, but left some warnings I think we should heed regarding AI. Today, for the first time in history, thanks to artificial intelligence, it is possible for anybody to make counterfeit people who can pass for real in many of the new digital environments we have created. These counterfeit people are the most dangerous artifacts in human history, capable of destroying not just economies but human freedom itself. What can you do?
So much regarding AI can sound alarmist, because it is, but alarm without action isn't productive. So what can you do? The best way to fight AI content is to avoid it, which I know nowadays seems impossible, but there are ways.
If you use Google, you can prevent the AI overview from popping up by adding -AI to your search. If you're doing an image search, you can add before 2022 to filter out results from after that year, since that's when AI really took off.
Support creators who don't use AI. You're already doing that by watching this video. I have never and will never use generative AI to make my content. That includes the scripts I write and the images and videos I use.
I know it isn't always easy to know up front what is and isn't AI-generated content. Browsing YouTube has gotten noticeably worse recently, and I know a lot of folks complain about getting pushed the same videos over and over again, not seeing content from the people they subscribe to anymore, and of course, AI-generated content. The homepage changed back in August of 2025, and Marcus Jones made a good video talking about how the number of videos that are recommended on the homepage got reduced and how this affected viewership. With changes like this, unfortunately, the best way to keep up with content from creators you subscribe to and want to support is to use the subscription tab. I say unfortunately because while this is the way I interact with YouTube, I really don't like the solution for bad or inconsistent user interfaces to be just change your behavior.
Of course, this is just a suggestion, but it's something to consider if you're tired of your homepage. Go to arts and crafts fairs where you can support local creators.
In her video, MildlyGothic does talk about the unfortunate proliferation of AI art there as well, but that shouldn't discourage you from seeking out artists and craftsmen.
I got this little guy at a crafts fair and I absolutely love him. He's got little wings. My friend painted this for me a few years back and she even did a video about doing so. You may be thinking this is great and all, but it doesn't stop the billionaires from stripping us of our creativity and telling us we love it. And this is the part where I really struggled when writing this video. Because while my advice was meant to help you insulate yourself from AI content on the internet and to support local creators, we have to ask ourselves, how do we meaningfully make change? How impactful is our role as consumers now?
Because unfortunately, the current AI economy means that either A, the economy continues to boom and a few people get richer while we get no say in how the tech is forced into our lives, or B, we are in fact in an AI bubble, it pops and the economy crashes, causing mass layoffs. Oh, and back to scenario A, if AI is successful in its goal, we also lose our jobs.
Hooray, we're winning!
Theoretically, we can boycott media companies that are using or plan to use AI to make content because if the bubble bursts, their investments in AI can no longer be justified to the shareholders and they'll be rolled out. But in this scenario, we've also lost our jobs because the economy crashed, so we won't be able to afford that premium $20 a month Disney Plus package anyway.
Wait, this one has ads? What the fuck? There are a lot of socioeconomic factors at play here for what we can and can't do as consumers. The most obvious answer is to vote. Seriously. But all of that deserves its own video. For now, I'll leave you with one last thing.
What's left to say? So this is probably the millionth video you've seen on AI, and there's a reason for that. Drew Gooden has a quote in one of his videos about AI that I really like.
It's not going away. It doesn't count as beating a dead horse if the horse is still alive. We gotta kill that horse first.
We have to keep talking about this in order for something to happen.
Deep down, there's this AI optimist in me that's just getting beaten down by a realist. AI has the potential to be an amazing tool, the tool I fell in love with. If the markets settle out, I think the likely scenario is that we'll find a balance in our workflows to include AI without replacing us. But that's a big old if. I don't hate AI, but in its current state, it's hard to like.
I love you.
I love you more.
We deserve better, but we have to fight for better.
I understand that just talking about something can feel hopeless sometimes, like, hooray, I've said words, I'm just like an LLM. But public perception and awareness matter. That's how you begin to make change. Our online communities have become echo chambers in more ways than political. What may be common knowledge to you may not be all that common.
For a lot of people, AI is still that fun tool from back in the DALL-E days that created the salmon swimming upstream pictures and cute little monstrosities. They may not see or understand that the AI Super Bowl ads are taking creative opportunities away from people, and they may not understand the environmental impact that AI has. Having conversations is important, and with those conversations, remember to give people grace, yourself included. These models are getting more and more sophisticated, and it's getting harder to tell what is and isn't AI. Not everyone knows about the common AI tells. The common art style, the background blobs, the piss filter.
You may not have known about the ones that I just listed, and that's okay because they're rapidly changing and soon will be nostalgic for the piss filter. Don't fault people for not being educated when they're making an effort to educate themselves. If you couldn't tell, I love art. I love media. I do this because I have fun. I love writing scripts and editing videos. I'm a team of one and I work really hard on these silly little things, but I'm so grateful to have found something that's so fulfilling for me. Human creation is what drives us. Why would you want to take anything like that away?
Hey guys, thanks for sticking around. I have one last thing to say here at the end. I said this at the beginning, but I want to emphasize that I'm talking about generative AI and art here. AI is a big buzzword umbrella term nowadays because saying things like, this eraser tool uses computer vision and deep learning to identify and remove objects is too much. As I said, there are AI tools that can enhance our workflow without taking from us. So before you go to the comments and say, well, I use X, Y, and Z, and am I not a real artist? That's not what I'm saying, like, at all. Shout out again to my friend MildlyGothic. I've linked her videos down in the description. You should go check out her channel. She's very talented. Also want to shout out my family for always being supportive and having these conversations with me. If you made it this far, thank you so much. Please consider liking this video and more videos in general. Liking a video is something that's small for you but helps creators out a ton. A follow-up video for this should be released in May, and next month MildlyGothic will be joining me on this channel. I have some really fun videos planned in the future, so I hope you subscribe and stick around.